Welcome back to our show,
Sleepover Cinema,
where we analyze the films that created the collective unconscious of the girls, gays, and theys of the late 90s and early 2000s. I'm Hannah Leach.
And I'm Audrey Leach. We are the sister filmmaking duo also known as Two Pink Pictures, and we haven't stopped thinking about these movies since we first saw them.
We're going to explore the good, the bad, and the nonsensical of the movies that first inspired our love for film in an attempt to answer the question, are these movies actually good? And at the end of the day, do we really care if they are?
Today, we are talking about 2004's Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement.
It's not the Royal Engagement?
No, it's not.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, very, very strange.
Mia Thermopolis has everything a girl could ever want.
I have my own mall.
I'm glad you like it.
This is so cool.
Except the one thing she's always dreamed of.
I'm ready for a romantic fairy tale love.
But destiny is going to give her a push in the right direction.
Princess Mia is not married in 30 days.
What?
She forfeits the throne of Genovia to young Lord Devereux.
Shut up. Grandma said shut up. Shut up.
Now, a girl who's never been lucky in love will lose her family's claim to the throne unless she can do the impossible.
Why don't we find out what kind of candidates are out there? Too old, too young. Prince William.
I absolutely accept.
He's not eligible.
I just love to look at him.
Me too.
From the director of Pretty Woman and Runaway Bride
You're gonna be gorgeous at your big Genovian wedding.
comes a story about discovering who you really are.
I look like a moose.
But a very cute moose. Make all the boy moose go, wah!
Finding out what you really want.
Do I want to know?
I don't think so.
And deciding what it takes to make your dreams come true.
Sorry.
Walt Disney Pictures presents Anne Hathaway, Julie Andrews, The Princess Diaries 2.
I'm eager to watch this movie, even though in my mind, this movie seems like... It almost feels like a reboot in that it feels tonally really different from the first one.
Yeah.
Like it feels like much more of like a distinctive rom-com almost.
Yeah.
Or distinguished, not distinctive.
Less coming of age, more rom-com.
Yes. Which makes sense.
Still coming of age,
Yes.
but also rom-com.
Yes. But I know we're in for a treat today. Audrey, do you feel similarly?
Yes, I do. A lot of people think that the second movie is better than the first one, and we're going to have an opinion on that. I haven't watched them back to back this closely, maybe ever.
Yeah, same.
So it's way more fresh in our minds now. We'll be able to have a more definitive opinion on that.
Absolutely.
Especially by our current standards.
So, Audrey, would you like to give us the facts?
Sure. Okay, so Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement premiered on August 11th, 2004 in theaters, and it was released by Disney. It was directed by Gary Marshall, rest in peace legend. Some of his most well-known films that he directed are Never Been Kissed, A League of Their Own, and Pretty Woman.
Yeah, so Gary Marshall also directed the first Princess Diaries movie, and he's known for having this really good relationship with Anne Hathaway, and she really pays very wholesome tribute to him as often as she is granted the opportunity to.
Yeah.
And that's always good.
Yeah, and this movie's writer situation is a pleasant surprise, I think. So the screenplay was written by Shonda Rhimes and Gina Wenkos. Gina is the same woman who wrote the first movie.
So the first Princess Diaries movie had Meg Cabot listed as the story creator, basically, for the first movie because she wrote the Princess Diaries book series. And even though the first movie veered pretty heavily from the original details of the first book, obviously she still came up with the idea and therefore rightfully has a position on the writing team of the first movie. But for the second one, they said, we're going to take your characters and we're going to hire someone else to write the story. And you would think that that would cause problems or create some beef, but Audrey, the
Meg Cabot blog historian.
yes, the Meg Cabot blog historian is here to give us a little taste of what Miss Cabot was thinking during the time of the development of the second movie.
Okay, so I'm about to play Meg here.
Please do.
Another thing people kept asking me about was the Princess Diaries movie. Will there be a sequel? Well, while I was in Los Angeles, I met with the producer of the movie The Princess Diaries and found out a ton of stuff about the sequel. It's going to be in theaters in summer 2004. The movie's sequel isn't going to be based on any of the books in the series, though. It's going to be a whole new story made up just for the big screen. And no, I'm not mad about that. I really liked the first movie and expect to love the sequel just as much. Also, they still have to pay me, even though I didn't write the story. So it's a win-win situation. Julie Andrews, Anne Hathaway, Hector Elizondo, Heather Matarazzo, and many members of the original cast will be coming back for the sequel, which will be directed by Gary Marshall. Here's a quote from Mr. Marshall himself on what we can expect to see. It takes place in Genovia. Mia's going back to be the princess and eventually run the country, and we have a moment where all the princesses from all the countries come together to see if they can do something about the state of the world.
It's literally like one scene.
It's like the least significant scene.
It's like the weird musical moment.
He probably didn't want to tell her that it's really about Mia needing to find a husband in 30 days.
because that's actually what it's about.
That's what it's about.
Weird.
So, yeah.
Interesting choice, Gary Marshall.
That's what they told her prior to actually seeing it.
I feel like she wouldn't even have been against what the conceit actually was.
No.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe they didn't fully know yet. I don't know.
Maybe.
But as I was saying, the screenplay was written by Shonda Rhimes and Gina Wenkos. Gina is known for The First Princess Diaries, Coyote Ugly, and The Perfect Man. And then we have Shonda, who everybody knows, wrote Scandal, Grey's Anatomy, and Crossroads.
We should also watch Crossroads.
Yeah, we should.
That movie's so weird.
I haven't seen it.
It's so good. It's really good, but it's very strange. We should watch that one too.
Yeah.
Okay, what other facts do we have here?
So the budget for this movie was $40 million, and that's about an average budget, I feel, for a movie of this scale at that time.
Okay.
But on domestic opening, no. But on, let me say that. But
no.
but on opening weekend, domestically, it only made $22 million. Kind of a flop-ish. It's not the worst ever, but it's not great. Especially for a sequel to such well-known IP. They probably were expecting, IP being intellectual property, they probably were expecting a bigger outcome.
Yeah.
But worldwide, it made $134 million, and that's the overall over time.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
so
okay.
They're fine. They are absolutely fine. But, you know, they really try to do better than that on an opening weekend.
Right. So, taking a moment with Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score for this movie was 26%, which is abysmal. And the critic opinion that Audrey selected for us to read is, Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews bring charm and elegance to the movie, but there's not enough material for them to work with in this sequel. I guess for both of them, there's not that much for them to work with.
I mean, they're far better than the material as far as what they can do, but that's not the point. I feel like Julie Andrews doesn't really do anything in this movie, but that's because they make it not about her at all. She does get on the track with Raven, though.
Right. The fact that Raven is even in this movie is so annoying to me, but whatever. Audience score was 59%, which this is
That's pretty
brutal
fair.
but representative example of how these critic versus audience scores tend to pan out. And so for those of you who do not remember, the plot synopsis of this movie, Audrey, did you write this or did you find this?
No, I didn't write this.
Okay. This is the plot synopsis. From Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah.
from Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes.
American teenager Mia Thermopolis is still reeling over the news that she is a princess within the royal family of Genovia, a little-known European nation with a population of barely 50,000. That's a lot of detail. As promised, Mia, along with her best friend Lily, travels to Genovia after their high school graduation. That is some creative license. The unlikely princess has hardly settled into the castle, let alone begun representing the country, when she learns that a larger title is approaching more rapidly than expected. Why is this so long? It seems as though Mia will have to take over as queen. Suddenly, in addition to further schooling on the etiquette of royalty, Mia finds herself with a daunting prospect. According to Genovian law, all princesses must be married before they can be crowned. Did you just take like the first paragraph of the whole ass synopsis?
No.
Okay. The actual synopsis is she's in Genovia. She's like 5 years older. And they're like, you have to get married to be queen because you're going to be queen soon. That's it.
And you have 30 days.
Right. And the 30 days is like a concession because they don't even want to give her the 30 days.
Yeah, they're being rude.
They're rude.
Genovian parliament is being rude.
Okay, Audrey, give us these taglines.
All right. We're going to hit you with 3 tagline options. Number 1.
Oh, this is so bad. Okay.
To get the kingdom of Genovia, there's just a little hitch.
To get the kingdom?
Yeah, it's not like she's trying to like dominate or something.
Weird.
2. This one's my favorite. She needs the rock to rule.
Well, that's also like a sequel to the first one, too, because it's like she rocks, she rules.
Yeah, she rocks, she rules. That's like, it's kind of perfect.
She needs the rock to rule is definitely the best out of here. This next one is horrible.
The next one is probably from like the DVD cover.
Yeah.
It can take a lifetime to find true love. She's got 30 days.
Horrible. She needs a rock to rule is definitely the winner.
That's the winner. We could probably go through the cast really quickly because
we really only need to talk about one person here.
2 people because I forgot to put Raven on this list.
Oh, okay. So with this cast, we have a lot of returning champs. We have Anne Hathaway as Mia. We have Julie Andrews as the queen. We have Heather Matarazzo as her BFF, Lily. And we have Hector Elizondo back as Joe, the security person, and also like Julie's lover for some reason. But very importantly,
most importantly,
we have baby Chris Pine in this movie as Anne's love interest, as the main love interest.
Yeah.
We hate to love Chris Pine. I hate to love Chris Pine.
I don't even hate to, because look at his filmography. Look at what he's known for. Look at the choices that he has made when he could have made the most like douchebag choices about his career.
Okay, expand upon this take.
Like he could have been, who's like a good example? He could have been like Ben Affleck or something.
Okay.
You know, it's just kind of like distasteful. Like, you know, a lot of girls and women like them on screen. Like Ben Affleck. I don't know why, though. Like, why? For what reason?
I don't know.
But anyway, he's most well known for the Star Trek movies and Wonder Woman.
Yes.
And in my opinion, this movie also.
Yes. Yes.
And I just feel like he's a really good person. I feel like he's a good person. I've watched a lot of interviews.
He is a cutie.
And
he pulls off really aggressive collars really well in Wonder Woman, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I just feel like he's there for his female co-stars. Like, I feel like he's not
We're projecting a lot onto Chris Pine, but I buy it.
I've watched a lot of interviews, all right?
Okay.
I could be wrong. This could age very, very poorly.
Hopefully it doesn't, though.
But hopefully it doesn't, because Chris Pine is where it's at. In my book.
Yeah, he does look like a very problematic figure from my high school past. And I think about that every time I see him. Like, if you took James Marsden and Chris Pine and smashed them into one person, it is this person I knew in high school.
You need to separate that, though.
It's so hard to separate, though, because his face shape is exactly like this guy I went to high school with.
Chris Pine is angelic.
All right, whatever.
And then our other notable new cast member is Raven Symoné.
Oh, yeah, Raven Symoné is like basically a cameo role in this movie, but She's like an Easter egg almost.
Yeah.
She's like an Easter egg of 2004.
And I did say Raven Symoné. That's the correct pronunciation.
Yes, that is the correct pronunciation.
It's pretty much in the height of That's So Raven fame. This movie came out pretty close to
Or
it.
she was like a very, very hot
Yes.
person.
Disney Channel star.
Yeah. Like just as bankable as Hilary Duff, probably.
Right. But they stuck her in this movie and they had her sing with Julie Andrews.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that more later.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like wicka wicka wicka, and it's like painful. Okay. So 2004, what was happening in the tween cultural sector at this time? Audrey just hitting us with Shrek 2, Shark Tale, and series of unfortunate events all coming out in that year. That is significant.
Yes, it is.
We should tell everyone that they should listen or that they should watch the Schaeferless video about why Shark Tale is the worst movie of all time.
There's a really, really iconic video essay on YouTube called Why Shark Tale is a Cinematic Disaster, I think.
Yes, it's so funny.
It's so funny. And the channel name is Schaeferless Productions.
We love him.
And I really, really strongly recommend you watch it, even if you haven't seen Shark Tale. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, like I have no memory of seeing Shark Tale, and I watched this movie and like cried from laughter multiple times.
The video, you mean?
Yes, the video, not the film. It could be a film, though, honestly.
Yeah.
With the length. So, okay, that was going on with movies. Ken Jennings was on Jeopardy, which for some reason was a huge deal.
We all knew about.
Similar to like the Michelle Kwan thing. Like, why did we all know about Michelle Kwan? I don't know. And all of this was like pre-social media, too. So it's like, did a news outlet just decide that Ken Jennings was going to matter?
Well, he held the record.
Okay, I guess. Whatever. Musically, the hottest artists at the time were Blink-182, Green Day, Usher, Alicia Keys, and Sierra. Reminds me of the song Like a Boy. I love that song.
Yeah.
And fashionably, Audrey has put it here, low-rise capris, juicy sweatsuits, and layered hair.
Like
Correct.
2 layered.
Yes. All of this is reminding me of my elementary school best friend, Audrey Sheeks. She was like, she had an older sister who was very like into all the pop culture at the time. And whenever I see stuff from 2004, it kind of reminds me of like being at her house and watching My Super Sweet 16 and like eating Tostitos. And she had like pink sweatpants and stuff like that. You remember?
Yeah.
What a time. All right. 3 things we remember from childhood about this movie / when was the last time we watched it? I think I watched this movie at some point within the last 5 years, but I don't remember when. What about you?
Same. I think roughly the same.
Yeah.
None of my points for things I remember about this are things we haven't kind of already discussed, except for how amazing the closet is.
Oh, yeah.
Mia's new closet.
Right.
She set the standard for fancy closets.
Yes.
With the remote control.
Oh, yeah. That's so exciting. I'm excited to see that. And there's like really beautiful jewels. There's like a shelf of jewels that comes out. Okay, what do I remember about this movie? Oh, there's a part when they're in the garden at some point and there's someone singing, I'm pretty sure in Korean, a Korean version of Miracles Happen.
Yep.
And that's like a fun Easter egg. I really enjoy the scene where it's like the slideshow of potential suitors for Mia. And she has like really good dress at some point.
The wardrobe is really good in this movie.
I'm pretty sure her hair is really good in this movie too.
Yep, it is.
And I really don't like the Raven Julie Andrews song because it's really corny.
Oh my gosh, but mattress surfing.
Yeah, but like that whole movie or that whole scene is like a set piece. Basically.
Yeah, it's like the gimmick of the movie.
Yeah.
But I can't just sit here and be mad at Julie Andrews mattress surfing
with like a veil on
with
or something.
Like this like flowy cardigan and like grace.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You can't hate on it.
It kind of feels like this. In my memory, that whole scene feels like watching a gag reel, kind of like a weird middle of the movie gag reel. But whatever. This is on Disney Plus, so we're gonna go fire it up. Audrey, do you have any last words before we go watch it?
If you have any pears handy, maybe snack on some pears because it is the fruit of Genovia.
It is their delicacy.
I wish I had one.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to have some food during this. I'm hungry. Last time we recorded, there was a huge windstorm and my dinner was popcorn and an apple with some cheese on it. So
That could have affected our critical viewing of Ice Princess.
that movie was hard to analyze.
Yes, it was. But this one should be far easier.
Yeah, I feel like we're way more on it today.
Yeah.
It's because it's like 4 p.m. instead of later.
Yeah.
All right. We will be right back. And we're back. I have a lot to say about this movie.
Not how I remembered it. Necessarily.
To say the least.
Yeah, to say the least.
We'll hold back on our critical consensus for the time being. Audrey, would you like to share some of the producerial information we uncovered?
Yes, there's a few things that I accidentally left out of my notes. My apologies to specifically Deborah Martin Chase and Whitney Houston, who are the iconic producing duo behind Cinderella that we covered a few episodes ago that has Brandy and Whitney Houston in it. They both produced this movie as well, which I don't really know what to make of that. I wonder how they, I mean, we know that they had a relationship with Disney because Disney ended up producing Cinderella for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of interesting.
I feel like I know at least Whitney Houston was involved in Princess Diaries as well, right?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I feel like she was, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Please fact check me.
And then I felt like it was really obvious after we identified that in the opening credits that they're shooting on the same backlot as Cinderella. Because it just looks exactly the same. Like, it's
different signs.
It's the same structures. Like, it's just really obvious. But I like that. I like that familiarity.
Yeah, it feels like it's part of the same collection or something.
Yeah. And then finally, this is the first movie Chris Pine was in. And potentially, well, that's what you said.
I know, but when you really think about it, it's like, how is that possible?
I'm sure he's been in more before this, but this was probably his first real role.
It was probably similar to like how the first movie was for Anne Hathaway. You know, like it was her first big role.
Yeah, I'm fact checking.
Yeah, I can see.
He had some really small roles on some TV shows. And then
wow,
this.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. Do you have any other factoids before we get right into it?
No, I'm just proud of Chris Pine.
Me too. Okay. Parts I appreciated. There are only 2 things on this list for me.
I have 4 things, but they're all really minor.
Okay. The first one is that the pink dress that Mia wears during like the garden party sequence is very pretty, very Liesel from Sound of Music reminiscent, and we love that. I also love that there are so many subtle gay people in this movie.
They're actually not subtle.
They're not subtle. Well, you know what I mean. Like the gay-coded individuals.
Yeah.
Which feels significant for a Disney movie. But I have more to say about that I will save for a later section. What else did you appreciate this time around?
I appreciated the presence of a singular poncho.
Yeah, right. And it was like the right colors too.
Yeah, it was nice. I liked it.
Mia wears a poncho when she's sneaking around in the castle.
The line that Julie Andrews says, "Nepotism belongs in the arts, not in plumbing."
Yeah, that was good. I don't know why she said it, but I appreciated it.
It's just funny. Her delivery was funny.
Yeah. The main thing about this movie that's worse now is that the screenplay is absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Like, it's really bad.
We hate to say it because the minds behind it are amazing. To me, it should have been better than it was.
Yeah. We'll analyze that a bit more when we get to our final segment of today, which is rules of sequels. But the screenplay was bad.
It relies so heavily on gimmicks.
Yeah. So, like, the thing that's so annoying about this movie is that there's, like, a really ruthless dependency on running gags that may or may not make any sense based off whether you've seen the first movie or not.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that, like, exist independently of the first movie, but, like, I just don't think the maids are funny.
No, they're not. They're annoying.
Like one of the running
Annoying.
gags is that there's like these really over attentive maids. It kind of feels like, what is the genre of movie where there's like slapstick running gags? Like Monty Python or something? Like,
Yeah, just comedies.
yeah, it just felt weird. Like the tone the whole time
Yeah.
we were like, what is this movie?
The tone is all over the place because it's so serious 1 minute and then the next they're doing like physical gags, you know?
It's weird.
It's just really, it makes it so you can't take the serious moments seriously.
Yeah, I agree.
Which sucks because I want to,
Yes, me too.
but I can't.
Me too. Well, kind of my main takeaway is like this whole movie feels like they were having way, way, way too much fun recording it, shooting it, and you can like tell that that's the case because it feels like everything is like a weird Easter egg.
Yeah, we kept saying that this movie is essentially an extremely high budget home video.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Because you can tell they all love each other a lot.
Yeah.
And the relationships between the actors are really strong. Like they have real chemistry.
Yeah.
But what they're working with is so below their caliber of chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, which almost, you know, the critic consensus, I think, makes sense for this movie is like Julie Andrews and Anne Hathaway have a lot to offer, but there's not enough material for them to work with.
Yeah, and it's also like it feels like they're at summer camp.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing actually going on. And one of the main things for me that I found super annoying that fell under that category was, why was Lily there?
Yeah.
Her best friend shows up and then does literally
use
nothing.
Her. They don't use her. She's just an observer. A
But not
very unopinionated observer.
Which is crazy because the whole thing with Lily is that she's like hyper opinionated.
Yeah.
Like her opinions played such a big role in the first movie.
Yeah.
And she literally,
Because Mia was a bit of a pushover
Yeah.
and Lily told her what to think a lot
Yeah.
of the time.
Lily is so irrelevant to the plot of this movie. It's honestly unbelievable.
And, I mean, we do appreciate her presence because we love Heather Matarazzo.
Right.
But they also force her to be straight, too.
Yeah, they have her jump out of the closet and then it literally jump out of the closet. And then at the end, they have her like weirdly give her number to this like town crier type.
Novian army dude.
Yeah, it's like, okay, first of all, she's going to Berkeley for grad school and is
Like-
obviously hugely gay. Why would she be giving her number to a military person, first of all, let alone a man?
It's just wrong in so many ways.
Yeah, we were saying that it felt like she was playing like a caricature of what a straight woman was.
Yeah, like
whenever
Heather was like making fun of the role she was playing as she was
Yeah.
playing it.
And the other thing is that she basically isn't even playing a role. It's like so clear that she's being herself. So then
Yeah.
when they like weirdly make it about her having a random love interest in the end, it's like, why did you add that in?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Chris Pine is kind of creepy in this movie.
Yeah, he's really creepy, and then you like him at the end, but he doesn't earn it very much.
It's not very earned.
No.
But he's just so likable, it's hard to not just
Yeah.
like buy into it.
Yeah.
This doesn't fall into problematic, but falls into why, which is when they finally have the scene where Mia and Nicholas are like bonding and alone. The fact that they're thumb wrestling and exchanging secrets is like, it's like accurate, but it's also so painful.
Yeah. Again, I think that's a tone issue.
Yeah.
Like, if they had not been messing with us so thoroughly throughout the
Yeah.
entire movie, being like, don't take this seriously, you know?
Yeah.
Then I could have been really here for that, because that can work if you are writing it correctly all the way
Yes.
through, like, consistently.
Right. But it was just very weird.
Yeah.
And then my last two qualms, this is not problematic, but it has to do with the royal bloodline. At the end, so the whole point of this movie is that Mia is trying to like be accommodating to Genovian law. And then at the end, it just, first of all, they like never talk about Genovia in this movie. So at the very end, when Chris Pine is like, Mia has a vision for Genovia, I'm like,
What is that?
What's the vision? We never talk about Genovia.
The only thing that alludes to her having a vision is what she did, the stunt she pulled with the orphans at the parade.
Right, like she wants to have the orphans to the castle for a party. It's like, that's not actually...
Her vision is having a sleepover with little girls.
But that wasn't even a sleepover with the orphans. That was a sleepover with her fellow
princesses of different nations.
Who all seem to be remarkably American.
Yeah, they're all extremely American.
You know what we're not even thinking of?
What?
You know that all the girls in that scene have to be the daughters and granddaughters of the crew.
Some of them,
Definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just a lot of girls, but like probably there was a few.
Okay, so is this movie still good? I would like to propose that we evaluate this movie based off the Schaeferless Productions rules of sequels, of what makes a good sequel. So these are the rules. 1, a good sequel must expand the universe. It must continue the plot. It must expand upon themes from the first one and introduce new themes. And it also must leave an impact on the universe in a positive way. Does it expand the universe?
Yes, it does expand the universe because we are seeing Genovia. I mean, if you want to take that in the most literal sense, it is expanding the universe.
It does expand the universe, but it doesn't really retain the existing universe.
No, it doesn't retain it at all. There is no feeling of continuation of San Francisco or anything that she might have brought from then.
Yeah, 100%, including her personality.
Yeah, she did not bring her personality. It's not consistent.
Like, she
apparently lost her personality in college.
Yeah, she's like not funny anymore.
Yeah, she's not funny and she's not
like that
personable. She's not like she's not relatable. She's
not skeptical at all.
Yeah, which was what made her fun in the first
like,
movie.
Yeah, her skepticism is like the point.
Right. And that she like is so actively resisting the lifestyle that is being thrust upon her.
Yeah.
Which is what makes her her arc earned by the end, is that she's come from this place of being like,
No.
I'm waiting for normal body parts to arrive. I can't be a princess. And then by the end, she's like, I understand like the importance of this and that I need to think of people other than myself. Maybe I could help people.
Right.
And that's where we're left.
Yeah. And then in this one, so the next rule is continue the story. First of all, there's a 5-year age gap in between the first and age gap. A 5-year time gap in between the first and the second, which I feel like they downplay for some reason, even though it's like important.
Yeah, I think that, you know, in the most literal sense, it is a continuation of the story. But because the time gap is there, it's making an excuse for all the inconsistencies.
Right. They're like, she can be super different because there's been 5 years you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Which is, even then, it's like, okay, but like for us to still feel like we know her, there still has to be some trackable similarities. And her being lazily klutzy is not enough.
And the only trackable qualities we see are like gimmicks. They're not, you know, they're not traits being manifested in a different way.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, basically repetitions of lines and situations.
Yes, agreed. It's like really annoying self-referential callbacks.
Yeah.
Also, this movie, it retains, it's like kind of the same plot in that it's like exposed by the press and then tries to bail out of a major public-facing event.
Yeah.
And like, I think that that's okay because it kind of makes sense within the world of it's like the royal family. Like that is what happens to the royal family, but the timing is like kind of exactly the same. And also, the part of what made the first movie so good was like the makeover movie or like the makeover montage part of it. And this one did not have any sort of makeover, or it did, but it wasn't like central to the plot.
It didn't need it. It didn't need it at all.
Right. And it kind of felt like it needed some kind of similar device to make it good, but it just didn't have it.
I don't even think it needed a similar device because it's not relevant anymore.
Well, to which I say, then is it even worth having a sequel?
I'm like, not really, but they needed the cash grab.
Right.
that ended up not being a cash grab.
Right. And then the last two are, well, first of all, And then the next one is expanding on themes and introducing new themes. I do not think any new themes were introduced in this.
No new themes that were worthwhile.
It was like they expanded on the last note of the first movie the whole time.
Yeah, which is, getting
duty.
to know the country,
Yeah.
the duty of being queen or princess, learning how to be a princess / queen. But yeah, and then there's, I guess the new theme is like about romance. It's kind of like...
It's like everyone deserves to find true
Everyone
love.
deserves to find true love, but like not everybody can relate to being betrothed. So
Right.
like, okay.
It's like kind of an escapist rom-com.
Yeah.
Because of the royal element, but then at the same time, they're like still trying to make it grounded, which it just isn't by nature.
Yeah, so just let it not be, I
Just
guess.
don't make the sequel.
Yeah.
Here's my...
I feel like there could have been a sequel that was tonally consistent to the first one if it wasn't entirely in Genovia.
Well, what I was going to say is that I think that they made a mistake by not adapting the second book.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just go with the books?
The material is there. I mean, it's the continuation of the first book.
Right.
It's not like, to me, it really kind of seems like some Disney executive was like, had a really specific angle for the second movie about like, like women's rights and like politics sort of thing.
But it's like barely even in
It's this
there.
like surface level girl power thing,
Yeah.
but still very within the confines of princess.
Yes.
And it's just like, this isn't doing anything for us.
Right.
A little girl seeing this, it's not a reach. It's not something more to aspire to.
Right.
It's just a slumber party, basically.
Right. I guess really what the answer to this whole thing could have been is they could have made a TV series off the books instead of movies.
I don't think that would have been good either. But
What if it was like a limited series?
maybe
though?
that was less of a thing back then.
I know, but like now it would be good.
Like that wasn't really a thing back then.
It
But
would be so good.
yeah, I mean, I would love
What
a
if they
modern
remade
take
this?
on this.
What if they remade this? Who would you cast in it?
Well, actually, I'm pretty sure there was some talk of Princess Diaries 3.
Oh yeah,
Anne Hathaway was talking about it.
right. Aren't they doing it?
I thought so. Now it's probably kind of up in the air, or like, I don't know where they are in development with it. But yeah, I remember that was online.
I feel like it would inevitably be her, like, on one hand, like, she could be having children, but then on the other hand, she could be, like, leading the world out of a major crisis or something.
Yeah, I think it falls in the category of reboots for the sake of reboots. Like,
Yeah, right.
the Lizzie McGuire situation that's going on. Do you know about this?
Yes, that they were going to reboot it, and then Hilary Duff demanded that it be, like, mature,
That
and
it'd be
Disney
realistic.
and Disney refused.
And Disney wouldn't let her see it through the way that she wanted. And so it's up in the air. It's back in development now. Like, they literally started shooting.
I know, I remember.
And I feel like, probably a lot of the executives that are in charge of these reboots want to see, like, a Raven's Home.
Right.
Because it's still for kids, but
Yeah.
it's playing on the same characters. But a lot of the actresses are not going to want to do that.
Yeah, because why would you?
And it would actually be so weird and interesting if we got a Lizzie McGuire show that is for adults, that is
Yeah.
for us, like
Right.
our demographic, because we grew up with her.
Right.
Like, I don't really see it happening, but I hope that it does.
I feel like the sad truth is Lizzie McGuire is doomed to grow up to be a boring person.
Boring person. Like,
Okay, if we're excluding
That's
all
so
the
true.
if we're excluding all the weird fantastical events of the movie,
yeah.
like
there's nothing about Hilary
she's just
Duff
gonna
as
grow
Lizzie
up and
McGuire.
like become an MLM vendor. Like I just can't imagine
I don't know what that is.
a multi-level marketing vendor.
right.
I just can't imagine her being that interesting of an adult. What does she even do in the show other than
She's
like
just in school. And
she's just like a kid, right?
Yeah, she's just a kid. And that is helpful for kids. Like, I think
Well,
that
right, we like those
is good
shows
for kids.
We don't like the extraordinary talent shows, really,
Yeah.
but like.
But when it comes to adulthood, did Lizzie go through some trauma? Like, what are we about to see?
Right, like, what are we checking in on?
Yeah. Like,
what if she did? That would be great.
Not
great, but you know what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
particularly long to see
Traumatized Lizzie.
traumatized Lizzie McGuire or Hilary Duff. Like, I would rather watch somebody else.
I would rather just watch a different show.
Yeah, like, you know what?
Yeah, like, why do we even need that?
But the culture is so about the unnecessary reboot right now.
Because all the locals want it.
It's because, and it's because
Everyone's scared that they're getting
there's
old.
such a heavy saturation.
Well, we are cashing in on those
of
people,
reboots.
though. We're cashing in on the people that love reboots right now.
That's fine though, because we are picking apart our past. You know, we're not trying to reconstruct some derivative thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's fun to talk about this stuff, but
we're not trying to get them to be like, remake it.
Yeah, like, I don't want a remake because it will inevitably be a letdown. It will be a disappointment. Nothing from your childhood that you're nostalgic about will ever live up to its previous greatness today.
Yes, agreed.
And that's fact.
And this is why you tune into this show for discourse about reboots. But I mean, I'm sure if you're listening to the show, you probably do have opinions on reboots. So
Yeah.
Maybe you should
let us know.
Let us know. You can send us a DM on Instagram at 2pinkpictures or on Twitter at 2pinkpictures. Or maybe even at 2pinkpictures@gmail.com if you're feeling really official.
Long form email.
Yeah. We have some exciting episodes coming to you soon.
We're shaking up the format.
Our Versus episodes are still coming. And we hope that you enjoyed watching this movie, even though it was bad. And will.
If you want to fight us on it, I welcome it.
Yeah, please fight us on it. Like, please make the opposite argument because, I don't want to not like these movies.
Me either.
Even though when we don't like them, there is a lot more to say.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's good. But okay. I think that's all we have for this week.
I think that's all we got.
All right. We will be back very soon. Bye.
Bye. You can find more from us at evergreenpodcast.com/sleepover-cinema and keep up with our latest creative projects at twopinkpictures.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter at twopinkpictures and would love to hear from you there.
And if you like the show, if it brings back evocative memories of childhood or tweendom or babysitting, share an episode of your choice with your friends. And maybe even leave us an iTunes review telling us what movie you'd like to see us cover next. Sleepover Cinema is a production of Evergreen Podcasts and is edited and produced by me, Hannah Ray Leach. Special thanks to mixing engineer Sean Rule Hoffman and executive producers Michael D'Aloia and David Moss. Our show music is by Josh Perlman Hall.
We'll chat again soon.
Bye.